Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 2025 State of the Wicomico County Schools Forum and Luncheon. I'm Bill Chambers, President and CEO of the Chamber. We're honored to have everybody here. This is an annual event. I want to thank the community organizations that participate in supporting investing in public education, Greater Salisbury Committee, the Wicomico Education Foundation, and a whole bunch of business leaders in the county that continually support investment in public education. Couple of comments before we do the pledge. These are really not comments. I just want to probably reiterate facts that we all know about what it takes for successful public schools. There's really 5 that I thought of earlier today. Good schools are a significant draw for families and businesses who often prioritize quality education for their children. This in turn attracts businesses seeking a skilled workforce and a high quality workforce pool. Jurisdictions with strong schools tend to have higher property values, indicating a desirable and stable community. A strong education system provides a pool of qualified candidates for local businesses, reducing training needs and boosting productivity. Good schools contribute to a higher quality of life for its residents, leading to a more attractive and stable community for businesses to invest in. And last but certainly not least, schools, particularly those with strong STEM programs, can contribute to innovation and research in that community, further boosting their local economy. I know these are things you all know, but these are things we have to keep in mind every year when we look to support the superintendent and our school system and continue to raise the bar on public education in Wicomico County. If you would like now to please stand again and join me in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. I want to thank today's presenting sponsor. They've been with us since we started the State of the Schools, First Shore Federal Bank, and our other corporate sponsors, Delmarva Power, Comcast, and WMDT. Thank you to those organizations and businesses that sponsored a table for today's luncheon: Salisbury University, Becker Morgan Group, and the Wicomico County Public Schools. And a heartfelt thanks to Superintendent Micah Stauffer and his executive team. We're looking forward to his presentation. Chris from the Civic Center team will be by to call you up by table. Enjoy a great lunch, and we'll see you in a few minutes. We have a few special guests I want to introduce this morning. Board Chair Gene Malone will introduce the board members for the Wicomico County Board of Education. I want to recognize Wicomico County Council President John Cannon. John, thanks for being here. And a shout out to John for his leadership as the council president, but as a leader and supporter of the business community. And emblematic of that was his announcement earlier today that Breeze Airways will start service from Salisbury Airport in October to Orlando. And John will be piloting the inaugural flight. He told me earlier he watched this YouTube video, how to take off with these 737s. He thinks he can do it. So want to recognize also Pam Gregory, the great president and CEO of United Way of the Lower Eastern Shore. Jamie Hayes, president of Junior Achievement of the Eastern Shore. Laura Hurley, who is the Wicomico County Council Administrator. I know Laura's here. Thank you. Great President and CEO of the Greater Salisbury Committee, Mike Dunn. Mike, thanks for being here. And Mary Ashanti, representing the Wicomico NAACP chapter. Thank you, Mary, for being here. I hope I didn't miss anybody. If I did, I apologize. I want to introduce the chair of the Wicomico County Board of Education, but in his day-to-day life, he is the Vice President of Commercial Lending and the Regional Loan Officer for First Shore Federal, our presenting sponsor, Gene Malone. Gene will do introductions of the superintendent. Gene.
Good afternoon. So before I introduce the superintendent, I do want to introduce some folks in the audience. So as a presenting sponsor, First Shore Federal has a table right here in the front. I want to introduce my colleagues that are seated at that table. First and foremost, Diane Turner, our president and CEO. Our vice president and chief lending officer and my boss, Nestor Bleach. He likes when I say my boss. It's near review time too, so. I'm no amateur. Our Vice President and Chief Financial Officer, Rich Ashley. Vice President and Chief Information Officer, Rebecca Mason. First Shore Federal Board Member, Sharon Morris. Former member of the State Board of Education and First Shore Federal Board Member, Chip DeShiel. And last but not least, my boss at home, my wife, Donna Malone. And also want to introduce my colleagues on the Board of Education. Our Vice Chairman, David Plotz. Board Member, Dr. Bonnie Ennis. Board Member, John Palmer. Board Member, Kristen Hazel. Board Member Susan Beecham, and Board Member Alan Brown. Thank you all. So First Shore Federal is proud once again to sponsor the annual State of the Schools presentation, which we began in 2018. First Shore Federal was founded on December 18th, 1953, meaning we are entering our 72nd year as a local financial institution. Our association is one of the strongest financial institutions on the shore, based upon our core capital ratio of 16%, which is more than twice the level required by bank regulators. We focus on home ownership and lending, along with small business lending and deposit services, all of which are key to a vibrant community. First Shore Federal continues to be recognized as a leading community citizen. Led by our CEO, Diane Turner's example, our employees and directors are involved in community organizations as volunteers, and in many cases in leadership roles. Today's sponsorship is an example of our strong support for public education in this great community. So now to the current state of schools. Dr. Micah Stauffer was named the Wicomico Superintendent of Schools effective July 1st, 2022. Dr. Stauffer served as the school system's Chief Finance and Operations Officer since 2019. Leading the Division of Business and Operations. He was originally hired by Wicomico Public Schools in 1996 as a substitute teacher and then as a science teacher at Parkside High School. He was promoted to assistant principal serving at Wicomico Middle and then Mardella Middle and High. He was then appointed as principal serving at Mardella Middle and High and then Parkside High. Dr. Stauffer also served as the Director of Secondary Education from 2014 through 2019. He is a graduate of Wicomico High School. He received his bachelor's degree from the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, his master's degree from Salisbury University, and earned his doctorate in educational leadership, district administration from Wilmington University. He and his wife, Dana, are both very involved with our community and school system. Their daughter is graduating from James M. Bennett High School this spring and plans to pursue nursing in college. And their son, who also attended JMB, is graduating from West Point and will be entering Army Flight School in Alabama. Dr. Stauffer is deeply committed to fostering a culture of excellence within Wicomico County Public Schools. Under his leadership, the district is focused on establishing positive and safe learning environments, enhancing college and career readiness, ensuring student access to resources, and building a high-performing workforce. He believes in the power of community partnerships and strives to create an environment where every student is prepared to succeed in an ever-changing world. It is my pleasure to welcome to the podium our great superintendent, Dr. Micah Stauffer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Malone. It is an absolute pleasure to be up here speaking with you. Good afternoon, everyone. As I present the state of the schools for Wicomico County, I'm doing so on behalf of all of our students, our board members, staff, parents, and the community. And I'm very proud of all we are accomplishing and what we do to represent our fantastic community each and every day. So please know that I do represent a very large and amazing team, a team that is essential to what our school system does through their tireless work and support. And I truly appreciate all they do and all the support that they provide. This team is comprised of my three phenomenal assistant superintendents, Kim Miles, Rick Briggs, and Brian Reger, who I know many of you have had the opportunity to work with and know each of them. And of course, my outstanding executive assistant, Andrea Dooling, who is amazing. Thank you, Andrea. Also want to thank all of the supportive board members, our our directors, of course, our central office staff, our administrators, teachers, and the phenomenal support staff that we have. And of course, our teacher of the year, who has done such an amazing job this year, Debbie Reynolds. And congratulations to our 25-26 Teacher of the Year, Emma Cohn-Matthews. In addition, thanks to all of our community support from the Wicomico County Education Foundation, the Blue Ribbon Panel, and the Greater Salisbury Committee, and then all of our community partners, many of which are here today. And of course, the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce for not only hosting today, but also all they do to support us. And of course, our elected officials, such as the county council, our county executive, and members of our state delegation. I want to thank them so much for their endless support as well. So this is an update to the community today, and I'm hopeful that you find it informative. It includes changes in our school system demographic parts from Wicomico County Public Schools strategic plan, and our priorities, our highlights and achievements, which there are many, thoughts on the blueprint for Maryland's future, the significance of funding, and I think some really exciting initiatives that we are planning as we move forward. So let's start with the changes in our school system demographics. The big news story this year was the increase in our enrollment. We have added more than 600 students to our school system. That's an addition greater than the number of students in Pinehurst Elementary in just 1 year. We have had the largest enrollment increase percentage in the entire state of Maryland this year. Actually, our enrollment increase was over 2 times the growth percentage when compared to the next largest county enrollment rate increase, which happens to be Worcester County. And our enrollment percentage increase was close to 4%. So it's through the addition of more portable classrooms and the overcrowding of classrooms that we are able to manage this and make it all happen. We now have 123 portable classrooms throughout our school system. Another big news story was the boundary adjustment or redistricting. Before it happens, we call it boundary adjustment. And with the support of our board, we underwent that this year as well. This is the first large-scale enrollment balancing that we have gone through since 1999 when Salisbury Middle School was opened. And then prior to that, it was 1975 when Parkside High School was built. So think how much our change has occurred across our county in that amount of time and why it was so necessary with this new enrollment increase to undertake that. So with our enrollment increasing so much, class sizes have quickly become over capacity, especially in our in-town elementary schools. And in some cases, they were quickly unbalanced over the district as well. Notably, Prince Street Elementary is now over 1,000 students. That's larger than any of our middle schools. And also, Beaver Run is now over 725 students, which is a good bit more than what that school was originally built for not long ago. So currently our enrollment is 15,629 students. It did reach over 15,700 students at one point earlier this year. About 65% of our students come from families that live below the federal poverty line, and of the 600 new students that we had enroll with us this year, over 400 of them are what is termed multilingual learners, or students learning English as a second language. Our multilingual students comprise now about 15% of our overall population, and that's over 2,300 students for us in Wicomico County. About 12% of our student population are students with a disability. This number has grown slightly, and as I said last year, we are continuing to see the scope and the intensity of needs within this population increase. So at risk is an older state definition, but it means that a student has a higher risk of not graduating high school when they come from poverty, are a multilingual learner, or are a student with a disability. So currently 72% of our students are in one or more of those categories or at a higher risk of not graduating high school. One key demographic that we remain concerned about is the number of students that come from families in transition, or what the state defines as homeless. This number is increasing, and providing this student group with an effective education is extremely challenging. This population of students is now 690 students, or about 5% of our overall enrollment. So with 2,600 employees, including 1,400 teachers, we educate our pre-K through 12th grade students in 30 schools and programs across Wicomico County. So when I say we have an amazing team, we have an amazing team. Our school's district strategic plan, or the plan for success, is filled with data, strategic objectives, and action steps, and I want to focus a few moments on just the progress toward our 5 main priorities: school climate and safety, student achievement, student engagement, maintaining a high-performing workforce, and community involvement. So I'm very excited by the amazing progress that we have made in each of these areas over the past school year, and that's what I want to update you on today. Our highlights and achievements are impressive, and I hope you find them to be. To enhance school safety, we have introduced a weapons detection system at our secondary schools for controlled entry events. We've expanded the Early Learning Transition Center, which is a behavior support program. We expanded that by 2 grade levels, and that is now pre-K through 2nd grade. We did add campus security managers to each high school that now leads our campus patrol staff and collaborates closely with our school resource officers. And then speaking of our school resource officers, thanks to county leadership and support, we were able to increase the school resource officer unit by 2 additional officers who work primarily with now our elementary schools. So that gives us a total of 12 as we move forward. So through grant funding, we have been able to extend the partnership with state and local mental and behavioral health programs, and our board members and staff have also worked to establish a firm but fair revised code of conduct, while our administrators and school staff have worked with our students to provide not only high expectations for appropriate behavior in school, but also to support and provide interventions in that support. WCPS implemented an Arrive to Thrive campaign this past year. You may have seen some of the billboards around town. Overall, student attendance is what it focuses on, and it also focuses on reducing chronic absenteeism, which is when students miss more than 10% of school days in a year. So as a result of that campaign, chronic absenteeism has been reduced as a county average by 3.8%. And so thanks to the hard work from our staff, new behavior intervention programs, and other things that we've been able to add thanks to the support from our county and local governments and our own Board of Education, we have implemented a number of things over the course of this school year. And because of that, our office referrals for discipline have decreased by 14%, while suspensions have also decreased by 5%. And more importantly, office referrals for physical or threatening behavior have decreased by 13%. this past year on top of the 9% decrease that I reported here last year. So this is remarkable progress, especially as you see our enrollment increase, right? And also the increases that we've seen in our demographics across our student populations. Really proud of that. We've had some amazing student achievements as well and programmatic achievements this past school year. The continued expansion of pre-K classrooms occurred with WCPS. It now accommodates 840 students, or 13.5% increase in pre-K enrollment. So trust me when I say with limited space, that's a huge accomplishment. And our district introduced online adaptive language programs and technologies to enhance language and literacy skills among elementary and middle school multilingual learners across our district as well. WCPS also expanded dual enrollment opportunities this past year, leading to 798 course completions for dual enrollment. This is an 81% increase in 2 years. So remember that with Blueprint, dual enrollment is now at no cost to all eligible students. And we successfully piloted and the board approved an AP African American Studies course, expanding advanced placement offerings and diverse curricula for our students. Wicomico has the largest, most robust advanced placement course offerings on the entire Eastern Shore. And honestly, we expected that dual enrollment growth might reduce AP participation, but the opposite has actually happened. More students are now taking both. AP exams have increased 41% this year to 1,573 AP exams that were taken. And also remember that with Blueprint, AP exams are now at no cost for students to participate in those as well. The class of 2024 last year earned $20.8 million in scholarships to colleges across our nation, and we are expecting that number to increase this year with the class of 2025. And for the second time in 3 years, a Wicomico County student was the only student member on the Maryland State Board of Education, representing all 900,000 plus public education students in Maryland. And that was Parkside High School student Abi Gabdam. And we can proudly say that we also have a Guinness Book of World Record holder for the most plants that were planted by a person in 1 hour, and that was Caitlin Tyler from the CTE horticulture program. So we're proud of that. And we have had 3 Maryland gold medals that were earned by our CTE students who will now be competing in the national championships in Atlanta in June, and 1 regional spelling bee champion, Megan Barrientos from Y Middle, who is now headed to the National Spelling Bee Championship in Washington, D.C. later this summer as well. So we know that student engagement activities and activities both in the classroom and outside of the classroom are so important for student success because it promotes the development of the whole student. It provides authentic learning experiences, and it cultivates skills like teamwork, responsibility, determination, and time management. So WCPS has been working to expand these student engagement activities. We've done that through Career and Technology Education, or our CTE program. We added a Twilight CTE program now, which is housed at Evening High School, with 3 new additional certification programs that include Nail Technician, Serve Safe Food Manager certification, and an IT support certification in Cisco and cybersecurity. And we expanded to 23 apprenticeship partnerships this year around our county and businesses. Our CTE reading proficiency rate is 11% above the state average, and our CTE graduation rate for our CTE completers is 100%. 100% of our CTE completers graduate high school. So I think that's definitely a success. We also expanded our middle school signature programs with 2 additional programs. We had a STEM program at Salisbury Middle School for a number of years, and now we've added a business leadership program at Wicomico Middle School, and we've also added a broadcasting media program at Bennett Middle School. The number of after-school programs in our schools expanded from 14 to 17, as we strive to provide academic interventions and enrichments for our students beyond the regular school day. And we added cheerleading to our middle school sports this year, which now includes 6 other sports. In fact, we now have almost 2,200 participants in our middle school sports programs, which is an 18% increase over last year. And I think as a contributing factor, we are seeing increases in our middle school GPAs and attendance rates and decreases in our office referral rates from that one intervention alone. First and foremost, when it comes to high-performing workforce, I have to highlight our current Teacher of the Year, Debbie Reynolds, who's the 7th grade history teacher at Y Middle. Mrs. Reynolds is a product of Wicomico County Public Schools and has not only been an outstanding educator for her students, but also a true advocate for our school system. And as I said, I'm very excited to welcome Emma Cohn-Matthews, who's an English teacher at Y High, into her role as the next Teacher of the Year for next year. So this year, WCPS opened the Marathon Health Center in conjunction with our health insurance carrier, contributing to a high-performing workforce. And this offers healthcare services to staff and their families to reduce healthcare costs. It also reduces emergency room visits and promotes well-being within our workforce. And over the past 3 years, 58 diverse instructional assistants and clerical staff have become fully certified teachers through the WCPS Grow Your Own initiative. And this is a collaboration between the instruction department, our human resources department, and Salisbury University that provides tuition assistance, flexible scheduling, and support from our school system and time to make all of that happen. We want to talk about diversifying our teaching workforce. This was a great initiative that we started a couple years ago, and it's paying off. I'm also proud to say that our district has now broadened our community schools initiative to include over 80 community-based organizations that are partners with us, over 30 faith-based partners, and we have increased the number of community mentors for our students in the last year by 113%. We now have 140 mentors in our school system, and we very much need more in case you or your business that you're connected with are interested. We also have adopted Talking Points, which is a technology that enhances two-way communication between educators and student families. This platform provides automatic translation in multiple languages, ensuring that language barriers do not hinder dialogue between teachers and parents. And over 1,200 parents enrolled in our Parent University and Family Success courses that we offer throughout our school system and community. They learned about things like academic programs in our schools, positive parenting, how to support learning at home, setting boundaries, college applications, and many more topics. So all of these are just a few, and I mean a few, because my staff does a great job of just, if I say I need some achievements and accomplishments, what are the things that we've done? And it's the floodgates open, but these are just a very few of the highlights and achievements that we have been able to accomplish over the course of this past year toward our 5 strategic priorities. All right, how about an update on Blueprint for Maryland's future? It's always a topic that I seem to get asked about, and I read and hear a lot about the implementation of the Blueprint for Maryland's future, but I feel like as local educators, we seldom get asked about how we actually feel about Blueprint, and since we're the ones implementing it, I thought I would take the opportunity to tell you exactly how we feel today. So there are challenges and concerns, and funding inadequacy is one. You don't hear about that much. You hear about the cost, but you don't hear about the inadequacy in the funding that occurs at the same time. So despite the increased funding, many districts across the state, and you've probably seen the news about districts cutting staff, going through budget shortfalls, and I gotta again give my team, they are amazing, give them total credit for how we went through the pandemic and then how since then we have utilized grant funding and other things to not have to be one of those news stories. But really it is impacting my colleagues across the entire state of Maryland. In our research this past year, though, one thing I did find that was interesting was that despite additional education investments for Blueprint at the state level, 5 years prior to Blueprint implementation in 2016, the overall percentage of the state's budget that went towards education across the state was 19.75%. Okay? And now as we approach 5 years of Blueprint implementation next year, the overall percentage of the state's general budget going toward education next year is 20.4%. So keep in mind, there are additional funds that are set aside for the future of Blueprint, such as the increase in tobacco tax and gambling funds, but the majority of what's being funded now is coming from the general fund. So I want to make sure that you have that information. So with those earlier percentages, I'm not sure that in some cases blaming the schools for the state's budget crisis is really a fair assessment overall when we're hearing that from the state. The Blueprint also introduces several mandates without corresponding funding, which places financial strain on local governments and school systems. One of these unfunded mandates is the capital construction costs for additional classrooms that are needed under the plan's expansion of pre-K. One of the many reasons why we have 123 portables, not only because of the fact that we have 600 new students this year that were unplanned as compared to last year, but because of the 840 pre-K students that we've added to our school system under Blueprint without any additional capital funding. That's not included in the Blueprint for Maryland's Future. Another is the construction costs and classroom modifications to accommodate instructional changes for the expansion of CTE programs as well. And the rapid implementation timeline of the Blueprint has led to challenges in meeting all of the requirements. More importantly, to meet the legislative requirements, counties across Maryland are diverting resources from traditional education costs to cover those funding gaps from the state. And as a result, what's happening is you're seeing that, and that's what you see on the news, is school systems are getting spread so thin. Now, while there are challenges to Blueprint, there are so many wonderful things that are truly great for our students. Let's see if you agree. These are some of the main requirements under legislation that school systems must implement as a part of Blueprint. Pre-K, dual enrollment, expansion of CTE and apprenticeships, more support for multilingual learners, more support for students with disabilities, mental health supports, competitive salaries for teachers commensurate with other professions that have similar demands and similar education requirements, community schools where neighborhoods are better linked to schools and community services. If we as a state have concerns about the state budget, and the Blueprint is the reason, I'm not convinced it is, but if it is, then which ones do we take away? Let's try that for a moment and see what you think. As we do this, please also keep in mind the demographic changes we have seen in our community and the achievements that we have experienced in this past year, both of which I've already shared. Starting with pre-K. Implementing pre-K currently gives 844-year-olds from all backgrounds of life in Wicomico County a strong start by improving school readiness and ultimately leading to long-term academic success. Maybe we take that one away. Dual enrollment and advanced placement allow high school students to earn college credit early, saving time and money while boosting college preparation for students across the county and across the state of Maryland. This year we had 1,131 students, or 26% of our high school students, involved with dual enrollment or advanced placement coursework, which better prepares them for the rigors of post-secondary education. And I think will ultimately lead to a stronger economy within our community. Maybe that's the one we take away. Expansion of CTE and apprenticeships. Expanding career and technical education and apprenticeships equip students with real-world skills and pathways to high-demand, high-wage careers. This past year, 1,017 students participated in CTE, or 23% of our high school students. We have the best CTE program, an award-winning program in the state of Maryland that we know works for so many students. Remember, 100% graduation rate. Continuing to expand that, I think, would be such a win for this community. Is that what goes? Wicomico County Public Schools now has a population of 2,300 multilingual learners, or 15% of our total enrollment. 460 new multilingual learners enrolled just this year. The blueprint provides more support for multilingual learners. Increased support helps multilingual learners across the curriculum to access that and become ultimately more successful at it. Is that not needed here in Wicomico? Wicomico and the Lower Eastern Shore is still the only region in the state of Maryland without a Maryland non-public special education facility, which is a therapeutic school to help with high needs special education students. Wicomico County Public Schools truly educates every single child, no matter how severe their physical, mental, or emotional disability is. But Blueprint provides more staff for support and resources for students with disabilities. And we know that enhanced support ensures that students with disabilities receive tailored instruction and services to support their unique needs and thrive academically and socially. Is that also not needed here in Wicomico? Knowing we have a community-wide backlog in mental health supports, Blueprint invests in that mental health services directly for students that helps address our emotional and behavioral challenges that we see each and every day. Sorry, that's gone as well. Currently, Wicomico is looking at a starting teacher salary of $56,413 next year, and will still need to reach $60,000 in a little over a year on July 1st, 2026. So that's still another 6% increase that we still have to go. The teacher salary piece is one of the largest expenditures of Blueprint and is designed to elevate the teaching profession to be commensurate with other professions that require a master's degree in order to be able to teach. With Blueprint offering competitive pay, it attracts and retains high-quality educators, which is and always will be the single most effective way to boost instruction and student achievement. Are we saying that recruiting and retaining the best and brightest to teach our students is not necessary? Community schools is a big one, especially for Wicomico County. 23 out of 24 schools are Blueprint community schools in Wicomico. Mardella Middle and High is the only one that doesn't qualify yet, but by our projections, it will in school year 26-27. The community school designation is based on the percentage of schools, school community poverty. It strengthens connections between families, services, and schools, and it provides the staff to be able to strengthen those connections. It creates a supportive environment that addresses the needs of students of poverty. And with the diversity in our community and the changes in the demographics that we are seeing, which is what I shared earlier, maybe that one is the one that's not needed. So if the state is not committed to Blueprint financially, or they don't engage with the local superintendents and their teams to properly put pauses in place for Blueprint to extend its implementation, or we just try to push these initiatives down as unfunded mandates, which places pressure on our local governments, then this screen is the end result. And I believe that not only that would be it would be detrimental not only to our area and other areas around the state, but it's spreading school systems so thin that to make it all happen, it really becomes detrimental to the day-to-day operations of the educational, extracurricular, and positive school climate aspects that public schools have always provided and are expected to provide. So, well, you might say, well, what are we supposed to do? So here are our thoughts. I think we need to hastily complete a comprehensive audit of the Blueprint legislation and the 25 through 2032 costs associated with implementing it, not what the Kerwin Commission put forward back in 2019. But let's really understand what we are asking Maryland school systems to do. what building space is needed in order to be able to do it, and how much it really costs to do these things today in 2025 and then beyond as we implement this, while still considering all the other things that school systems have always done and must continue to do. And let's also provide the flexibility in the implementation of Blueprint. So allow local school districts more flexibility to tailor Blueprint initiatives to their own specific needs and their own specific populations of students. And then let's ensure that all mandates introduced by the Blueprint are accompanied by adequate funding to support their complete implementation, and that these things are not just things that are passed down to the local county governments to be able to provide. And then as a state, let's foster better communication and collaboration between state agencies and local school districts. Let's include our local governments and other stakeholders to address the challenges, and let's collaboratively determine the best path forward. And let's prioritize all these specific areas I just talked about and really decide what can be done, and then let's stick to that plan and not go back and forth. Or we just all decide to accept what's on the screen now or not on it, or maybe somewhere in between, or just firmly commit to funding it or funding what we've prioritized to do. The Public School Superintendents Association of Maryland has published all of these points and many others and shared them with our elected leaders across the state prior to this past legislative session, but ultimately very few of them were adopted. I do want to commend our local delegation because honestly, our local delegation, they've reached out to me, they've reached out to my team, many other local leaders to gain perspective and to gain understanding. And they have also attended many meetings, many of our own meetings, and they've been honestly a great voice for us in Annapolis. I'm just not sure that's what's happening across the state of Maryland. So it's providing those challenges. And look, these are all very difficult decisions, but I think the message here is that if we generally value the future of public education in Maryland, we have to be honest with what's possible, we have to be intentional about what we prioritize, and we have to be committed to the course of action. So all those things that were on the screen are all wonderful things and are very difficult things to have to prioritize and decide what to do and what not to do. But if we continue down this same path as the last few years, I'm afraid that we'll be robbing Peter to pay Paul in all of our local school districts across the state and all of our local governments across the state, and ultimately our students are going to be the ones that suffer from it. So that's how we feel. Moving on, I want to commend the partnerships that we have with our local elected leaders. County Executive Giordano has put forward a budget for next year that meets our full request. This proposed reinvestment in WCPS will truly support the needs of our students with the help of the Blue Ribbon Panel, so many partners in our community. We have really taken, in the future, we've taken a formulaic approach to funding Wicomico County Public Schools, so we know exactly what our needs are and we know what we're going to put forward each year. I think in addition, our county executive and our county council always take the time to meet with us and listen. They ask very thoughtful questions and they take an interest, and I think that's truly appreciated. And while Blueprint elevates and expands the scope of public education, local funding continues to provide for those crucial day-to-day aspects of education that have always been a part of what we need for student success. So for instance, Blueprint increases teacher salaries statewide to elevate the profession and to recruit and retain top talent. Local funding enables schools to hire more teachers, to be able to directly reduce class sizes, which supports individualized attention. Local funds also allow districts to fund support staff like instructional assistants, clerical staff, custodians, food service employees, bus drivers, who are all playing a vital role in daily operations and ultimately play a vital role in student success. Blueprint invests in career and technical education and dual enrollment for college and career readiness after high school. But local funding enhances elective subjects, the fine arts, and the extracurricular programs that build student engagement and expand well-rounded learning. Blueprint expands access to full-day pre-K for 4-year-olds, prioritizing the strong foundation that early learning provides for future success, but local funding provides for field trips and enrichment experiences, which deepen learning, builds school culture, and connects programs to the real world. So it's important to understand, and that's just a few examples, but it's important to understand that Blueprint is about expanding the scope of public education, okay? Doing things that we haven't really done before necessarily, or expanding those to a whole new level in public education, while local funding is supporting the core of what effective education programs have always done traditionally for a long time. So, and regarding our local requests for next year, the additional local funding will support new teachers to reduce class sizes. They will also support additional staff to support the needs we are seeing within our multilingual learners and also students with disabilities. Additional levels of behavior support interventions and services to meet the needs of our most challenging students, and also the expansion of elementary extracurricular activities such as sports and clubs, which are very much needed in our elementary schools, we're finding as well. Also, additional teachers for our elective subjects, especially in elementary, to provide more art and music programs for our students, as well as school safety and security upgrades, such as including an artificial intelligence weapons detection system to integrate with our current exterior cameras, which will be able to be done as we move forward next year with that local funding. So I'm going to end today with just a few highlights for what the path forward for Wicomico County Public Schools holds this next year. So with school climate and safety, here's what we're planning to do. Increase support for campus security teams across all middle and high schools, with the development for elementary teams now as well. To extend the partnership with local mental and behavioral health programs, we are actually expanding our partnership with Chesapeake Health to open another student wellness center, which will be at the East Salisbury Elementary campus. And this will complete the attendance area for the community, since there are already established student wellness center services at Beaver Run, Y Middle, and Y High. And then we are implementing an additional behavior intervention program for grades 2 through 5 that creates that continuum for behavior support now in pre-K through 12. And this new program will complement our Early Learning Transition Center to support pre-K through 1, and then also complement our Choices program for behavior support that exists for grades 6 through 12. And then in the area of student achievement, we are enhancing teacher collaboration and instructional effectiveness by adopting a more structured approach to lesson planning. And this is going to include data analysis and aligned instructional practices to address the learning gaps that we're seeing and improve student outcomes. We're also going to advance literacy and math achievement through targeted and ongoing professional development, implementing research-based interventions, and transitioning district-wide subject-specific teaching now for grades 3 through 5. And this will deepen our content expertise and elevate instructional quality. Also, we're planning to expand equitable access and support for our multilingual learners by increasing language-rich instructional resources. And we are improving early learning access and family engagement by expanding the Judy Center, which works with our very youngest learners, to a third school next year, which is going to be Chipman Elementary. And we will increase pre-K4 classrooms again to now accommodate 880 students, slowly increasing that as we move forward. And then next year, we are also expanding CTE by adding an additional certified nursing assistant program in conjunction with the one we already have, because the wait list is so long, as well as expanding our interactive media program through introducing an introductory course. And then we are planning with Maryland Accelerated Learning to train teachers and develop STEM talent. We're going to start an initiative to do that in our intermediate grades, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And then all 1st and all 5th grade students in the county will now have a scheduled Parkside Planetarium visit as a part of their science curriculum. And then we're also expanding extracurricular activities down into our elementary schools with intermediate grade intramural sports and additional clubs there. And one exciting thing is we're adding a 4th middle school signature program to join the STEM program, the business leadership program, and our broadcasting media programs that we have currently. So next year we are excited to pilot a performing arts signature program, which will be at Y Middle. So with our high performing workforce, we're empowering our educators through personalized professional learning by launching a flexible user-driven platform called Power School, and that supports individual growth. It tracks professional development progress in our teachers, and also it streamlines the professional licensure renewal that's required as well. In addition, we are working to strengthen leadership pathways by expanding the career ladder to include lead and distinguished teacher roles now, which is going to foster instructional leadership under the blueprint, and at that same time it cultivates a pipeline of future school leaders as we move forward. And then we are building upon existing partnerships while addressing identified gaps with community involvement by exploring new collaborative opportunities to involve our community and enhance the engagement that we have with all of our partnerships. And then community schools that are entering their 4th year of implementation are going to have a needs assessment that's going to be done to really engage what's going well, what's not going well, and how can we further engage with our community partners, our students, and our families. And then we're going to continue to maintain a strategic focus on student attendance by implementing a tiered approach with the goal of reducing chronic absenteeism by an additional 5% next year as our goal. So there's a lot going on with the state of Wicomico County Public Schools. I want to say that I'm truly excited about our path forward. I'm proud of the achievements from our amazing students and our amazing staff. A ton of progress is being made that you can see, but this is certainly a team effort. It's a community-wide effort, evident from all of you being here today, and thank you for your support. Thank you so much for being here. A big entire thanks to my amazing team in Wicomico County Public Schools and all the numerous community members, organizations, and businesses that support us daily. We truly appreciate this opportunity every year, so thank you for being here, and I appreciate it. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Micah. How about another round of applause for Dr. Stauffer? If we as a community continue down the road that Micah and his team are paving, it will change the economic development climate of this county in ways nobody in this room can imagine. I've said this for 8 years. That school system gets into ranking in the top 10 in Maryland, businesses will be beating down their door to come to Wicomico County. We got to find places for them to live, but that's a different problem. So thanks again to our sponsors, First Shore Federal. We appreciate all of you being here. We'll see you here next year for the next edition of State of the Wicomico County Schools. Hope to see you at an upcoming chamber event. Thanks, everybody.